In the northern section of the triangle-shaped marsh, the team is looking for other potential caches of hidden goods. They found a piece of shaped wood 3 feet underground, which may be connected to a building nearer the surface or another one farther below. As the excavation progresses, the team is committed to finding answers and staying focused. Archaeologist Jack Begley teams up with archaeologist Fiona Steele and her assistant Todd Langth to explore a mysterious foundation close to the shoreline. The test pit's goal is to determine whether the gap in the rocks is an entranceway. The added benefit is that this is the section of the whole structure that has been located. The crew has found man-made mortar that matches soils from more than 100 feet deep in the money pit. Additionally, some portions of the feature, as well as a variety of coins and antiquities from the 14th to the 18th centuries, have been unearthed in the money pit area. A hinge piece that Fiona thinks is a diamond or some kind of cut glass is one of the items that have led the team to conclude that the feature was utilized and altered by several people throughout a number of ages when riches may have been placed in the money pit location. Fiona is unsure, but Jack believes that this hinge may have come from a chest or box. The rest of the hinge and its contents are being bagged. Todd thinks the hinge might be a gemstone or glass gemstone, while Fiona says it might have been from a ring or necklace. Over the past 10 years, the Legas and their team have found numerous items of treasure throughout Oak Island, including gold-plated buttons, silver coins, and gemstones. The team is committed to finding answers to these questions as they continue to investigate. It is desired to excavate and reveal the complete structure. This wood is intriguing since it has flat tops and rounded edges. The team is looking for 1 or 2 artifacts that could provide insight into its original use. Since they have worked very hard to place anything in the northern part of the marsh, they must exercise caution when doing so. Dr. Ian Spooner, a geoscientist, and Marty Lagena have made an important discovery. They found a boulder with a disturbance at its base, indicating that Nolan's Cross has an internal mechanism for unlocking it. A researcher named John Edwards led the team to this spot with the promise that they might unearth a hidden treasure related to the Knights Templar. When Billy Gart dug around, a huge boulder was found perched atop a possibly man-made stone formation. The team is currently investigating the site to see if it is a natural feature or if it could actually be man-made. Marty finds interesting details about John Edwards' presentation, such as a stick in between the boulder and the sediment, which suggests that people were moving around boulders to move water through the area. This seems like people were manipulating or trying to change the water level in the swamp. For whatever reason, if Dr. Spooner and Billy are correct, the area around this feature could offer evidence to support the theory of researcher John Edwards, who believes it may have been created centuries ago by members of the Knights Templar. They found some nice cut wood at the base of the swamp material, which they plan to carbonate and use to determine if they find any other oddities and possibly some metals. The next morning, they plan to find some good stuff, including a big tree, 2 layers of trees, and several other tree stumps. These findings suggest that the swamp may have been artificially manipulated hundreds of years ago, as trees are not able to naturally grow in marsh environments. The team intends to stroll around and examine the rocks that border the swamp after discovering another intriguing discovery: a large piece of timber that was brought here for a purpose and has been hacked multiple times. While investigating a rock-lined dip at Oak Island that is thought to be a treasure pit, Billy and Rick come across a peculiar concealed stone feature that they think could revolutionize the game. Since it appears to be quite old, the team is thrilled with the discovery and wants to take a break. Billy and Rick are impressed by the circle of stones, which they believe was created when Billy bailed the water out. They don't find any metals, but they found no metals at the paved area or on the stone roadway. This suggests that people may have been on Oak Island earlier than they thought the board they found was cut, and there were loads of wood along the line. One of the features they found was big long strokes with an axe, which could be a candidate for C-14 Fred Nolan, who discovered several uniform lines of wooden stakes carbon, dated to as early as the 1500s, was convinced they were survey markers used to artificially create the brackish bog. The Oak Island team is considering whether they have found a similar stake at a site believed to mark a location where treasure could be buried. However, they don't think it is natural. Rick suggests having Dr. Spooner come out and try to core through the site, but they don't think they should do anything more physically until Dr. Spooner comes in. Craig believes that if people were building something at John Edwards' site, they must be careful when examining it, as it may tell the story of who was there and could be a game changer.
beginning of a long line of people who followed in their footsteps. The issue of where the loot was hidden evaded even President Roosevelt, despite his best efforts. Despite numerous abortive attempts, the search for treasure on the island continued indefinitely. This was due to the efforts of individuals like Irwin Hamilton, who unearthed artifacts that were not typical of the area. It was evident that Rick and Marty had a challenging mission ahead of them. They were fortunate to have a competent and capable team supporting them. Craig Tester, who had been Marty's college flatmate, joined their ranks, as did Dan Blankenship and his son David, all of whom were experts in their respective disciplines. Dan Blankenship, for instance, was a renowned hunter who left his contracting business to investigate the enigmatic island. Since the Lagena siblings had been treasure hunting since they were young children, it was not surprising that they were both exceptionally skilled at the activity. As soon as Ricky, then 10 years old, stumbled upon a boulder and became intrigued by the concept of unearthing buried treasure, their passion for treasure seeking was ignited. Even though their first attempt to search the boulder for treasure failed, it set them on a path that would lead them to spend the remainder of their lives engaging in similar adventures. As time passed, they gained a deeper understanding of the tales and legends surrounding Oak Island, which strengthened their resolve to investigate the island's mysteries further. The brothers Lagena and Dan Blankenship each purchased one half of the stock in Oak Island Tours in order to realize their dream of discovering the buried treasure and seizing it for themselves. This gang appears to be destined to follow in the footsteps of their former commander, Daniel McGinnis. McGinnis discovered a depression in the ground on Oak Island in 1796, prompting him to initiate his own search for wealth on the island. They and their associates spent approximately 10 years excavating the pit, but none of their efforts bore fruit. In the end, the Onslow Company was the one to assume responsibility for excavating the money grave, but they too were disappointed. Discovering only a stone instrument containing writing, it took over a century to translate the inscription on the stone tablet, which is believed to read, 40 feet below, 2 million pounds are buried. Others relied on conjecture, such as Marie Antoinette hiding her wealth prior to her execution, or William Shakespeare hiding his fortune and unpublished works, while others used this as evidence to infer that there could be treasure on the island. Despite this, these hypotheses have not been confirmed because no treasure has been found. Since the beginning of excavation on the island, individuals such as the Lagena brothers have been responsible for the discovery of hundreds, if not thousands, of artifacts. The Lagenas made a remarkable discovery when they unearthed the bones of two distinct individuals. The fact that one set of bones belonged to a person of Middle Eastern ancestry and the other to a person of European ancestry added another layer of enigma to the island's history. The remains were discovered on opposing sides of the island. The discovery of bones belonging to individuals of Middle Eastern and European descent led to the conclusion that these men may have been members of the Knights Templar. Gary Drayton, an additional member of the Lagena team known as the Metal Finding Ninja, discovered a medieval-era cross and a stone with Greek letters. After analyzing the relics, Zena Halpern argued that they may be associated with Tannin, the Phoenician deity of fertility. These discoveries appeared to support the hypothesis that the Knights Templar had visited the island. However, after analyzing the artifacts, Zena Halpern hypothesized that they were associated with Tannin. When the cross's lead covering was removed, it was discovered to be made of gold, leading some to presume it was used to smuggle gold. In addition, some individuals believed the cross may have been used to transport gold. The Lagena brothers believed that their discoveries were more important than those of their contemporaries. Are you currently appreciating this video? Be careful to subscribe and enable post notifications to be notified immediately when a new post is published. In spite of this, they remained enthusiastic about continuing their search for treasure on Oak Island, which was fueled in part by their desire to uncover the island's mysteries as they proceeded. They made additional discoveries, including the discovery of various types of stone tablets in the money pit. Initially, the tablets were considered to be nothing more than ordinary artifacts, but after further investigation, it became apparent that they could represent evidence of Viking occupation of the island. Oak Island exploration has been a phenomenal experience for the Lagena brothers. Through their partnership with the television network, they were able to achieve financial success despite not discovering any genuine treasures. As a consequence of the show, They now own 50% of the island and have become billionaires. They remain committed to their work in the hopes that one day, with a little luck, they will find the treasure chests buried somewhere beneath Oak Island. Researchers on the team have just discovered something no one was meant to see. Scientists have at last disclosed what lies at the bottom of the Oak Island money grave. It's similar to a traditional tale about concealed riches and traps, but with a twist. Despite the fact that we know precisely where the treasure is concealed, recovering it has proven to be